So, we've got a nice, simple release this week. Nice, of course, is depressing, because I really like my anime DVDs. But this week's titles are Bleach Volume 32 and Xam'd Lost Memories Collection 1. Which I think is actually pretty highly rated and intriguing. So naturally, I'm always trying to stay ahead of these sorts of things. And so I also got all 7 volumes of this anime called Fafner. That art style is familiar, so I think this was probably animated by the same people who made Gundam Seed, because it almost looks like the same thing. And of course this was a box set version, so assuming I can get these in here, the complete collection. Then there's also Kaze, another box set release. This one only had 3 volumes. Xam'd Raijon-oh, now known as Matchless Raijon-oh, Volume 2. This came out last week. And I also picked up Resident Evil Degeneration, which counts as an anime in most databases. And so does Batman Gotham Knight. And then I started collecting Haruka Beyond the Stream of Time. Here's Volume 2, 6, and 8. And I feel a real need to collect this series because I remember tracking it as it came out, but it not being stocked in Best Buy, so I didn't get it at the time. I really need it now. And on the non-anime front, we have Pokemon's White and Black, or Black and White, ordered from Japan. These things came in these boxes, which at first glance they look like they're the same as the cases, front and back. But there's one difference that was kind of interesting. See, this is the box art I've always seen for this legendary Pokemon, and on the DS, his thing in the back is glowing blue. Likewise, this white legendary Pokemon now has a pretty clear glow in his generator in the back too. It's pretty cool. I'm not very far in the games because they only arrived Tuesday, so I've only got 4 Pokemon right now, but I'll continue to make progress on that. So I've gotten a good number of requests for Inside the Box this week. First up, there's School Rumble. As you can see, I have all the individuals for the first season. I don't know if there was a complete version, but I remember fond memories of this. Here's the extra class OVA. And then we've got these 4 discs that make up collections 1 and 2 of the second season. But yeah, good memories of School Rumble. I came home with the first DVD knowing I wanted to watch this series, and the power was out, so I'm like, fuck it, that's what a laptop is for. That's back when my laptop battery lasted longer than 10 minutes. There was also Rurouni Kenshin asked for. This one's nice and simple since they're individual season releases, and there are only 3 seasons, or at least 3 seasons released on DVD. Then we've got Samurai X The Motion Picture, which y'all saw me recently buy. Then I have Samurai X Trust and Betrayal and Reflection, the director's cut versions in this thin box set. I was also asked to show Saint Seiya, but that one is also real simple because it's just these 2 stacked DVD boxes. And then I was asked to show Slayers, and I don't really have too much to show since I pretty much have these Funimation thin complete collection things, the ones that fold out for these first 3 seasons. And then for Revolution and Evolution R, you know, the thin boxes. I don't know if you would call this season 4 parts 1 and 2. I would want to do that, but I think some people call them seasons 4 and seasons 5. Seasons 4 and seasons 5. I also have this Slayers OVA collection, which has well, all 6 Slayers OVAs, and then we've got the individual Slayers movies. In this nice, convenient box format. So in a kind of unusual request, not unusual question to ask, just unusual request for me, I was asked about my manga, and I decided to go ahead and show that. And it belongs in inside the box insofar as, you know, all of my manga come from DVD releases. And Alien 9 is the recent example, where these 3 volumes came with the 1 DVD in this Ultimate Collection. Assuming I can get them back in here. There we go. But of course, that wasn't all. I also got Ghost Slayer Ayashi Volume 1, which came with Ghost Slayer Ayashi. The Gundam 00 stuff has come with, oh dear, I've never tried showing these before. Has come with titles as well. We got 3 volumes of Season 1 and 2 volumes of Season 2. And then we got this Gundam 00F Volume 1. And I don't pretend to really know what all's going on there. Gurren Lagann also came with a volume, or at least one of the Gurren Laganns did. And then Code Geass DVDs came with manga volumes. So I have 1 and 2, Suzaku of the Counterattack, which has a 1 on it, so it might be a volume 1. And then Code Geass 4, 5, 6, and 7. I really ought to figure out whether or not I need to buy more of these in order to at least make them complete. So let's see if we can really quickly cover stuff I've watched. First off, let me see. I watched another DVD of Fighting Spirit and continue to enjoy it. Trying to keep up with that. Continued watching Dragon Ball, and I've seen a little bit into Season 2 now. And for the most part, it's been pretty enjoyable because it doesn't take itself too seriously. Or at least that's been my impression about it. It's kind of the impression it gives at the very beginning of the series, as opposed to Dragon Ball Z, which is kind of serious from the get-go. So it's interesting to see that contrast between the two, and it would also be interesting to see if Dragon Ball eventually becomes serious like Dragon Ball Z was. Otherwise, I continue to watch it to see how it goes. I also rewatched the first DVD of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and One Piece with a friend over the weekend, and watched the first disc of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya Season 2, which means I've actually started the infamous Endless 8, which hasn't been too bad so far. Then again, I wasn't expecting it to be too bad, just not as exciting as the regular stuff from Haruhi Season 1. I think the most important thing that people have asked me to watch and comment about was Hetalia. And I thought it was pretty amusing. A lot of it, though, was also... It felt like there were a ton of jokes in there related to countries, their histories, and their stereotypes that I actually didn't know all that well. So, the jokes I did get were kind of amusing, and a lot of the jokes I didn't get, or I assume I didn't get, kind of flew over my head. The second disc in Hetalia is supposed to have a lot of references to try and explain some of this stuff, but that mostly seems to be focused on the content of the episodes as opposed to smaller details within the episodes. So, there's probably a ton of stuff in this anime that I'm missing, but at the same time, I still found it to be enjoyable without that. Keep Italia. Anyway, that would be this week's anime DVD update. No, this week's anime watching update. So, of course, there were other things that came out this week. I mentioned last week Dragon Ball Z Dragon Box 4 at one point in the past looking like it was going to come out last week, and it came out this week. It was in stock, as well as the Dragon Ball GT Complete Collection, a saved version of Ghost Hunt, Initial D First Stage Part 1, and a Samurai 7 Complete Collection. I think it was a Viridian Collection edition, but I didn't note that. At one point in the past, I noted that Gundam 00 Season 2 Part 3 was going to come out today, but that's obviously not, because it's not here, and the release date has been updated to October 19th or something, according to my notes. And DVD aficionado thought at some point that Sengoku Basara Samurai Kings was going to be released today, and that obviously didn't as well. That one's been pushed out to October 12th, or it was originally October 12th in the first place. Difficult to say. Next week's actually, while there's a lot of stuff on the list, I think most of this stuff on my list has actually been pushed out or maybe even canceled. I am kind of afraid to say that, but maybe I'll be able to do something about it. Maybe not. We'll have to see what happens, because obviously Queen's Blade Volume 3 isn't coming out next week because Volume 2 hasn't even been come out. It has not even come out. Right? Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. There's a bunch of stuff that we've been waiting for. The Ikki-Tausen Dragon Destiny Volume 3 is once again supposed to be coming out. I should probably double check that for y'all. Ikki-Tausen. Yeah, Amazon thinks that September 28th is the next release date, and I think the Toradora Part 2 and Persona Trinity Soul Part 2 maybe. Although it's difficult to say how all of this will come together, or if stuff will get delayed again, and you know, maybe next week won't be spectacular, but maybe I'll be able to do something about it. Otherwise, that would be this week's update. If y'all really want to know anything about the Pokemon game, I guess you can ask, but I'll just answer in the comments, because the video doesn't show up that well. So, sorry about that. I was hoping to have video capture that up and running by now, but I never even started that project. I just got all the parts. Oh well, maybe next Pokemon game. So, see you.